Baruch Hashem. An intimate, real, practical, pleasurable life. A life of fulfillment, a life of goodness, happiness, success, bliss, pleasure. Who wouldn't want that? The answer is most of humanity. Otherwise they'd be choosing it through Darkecha. But the sad thing is the dark side offers you pleasure. It's very, very immediate. And people buy it. Immediate pleasure, immediate gratification, and it's only getting faster and faster, and people are buying it. And the world of Darkecha, like everybody knows, anything that's really good and real is worth working for and needs to be worked for. So we're on this journey together, the long, short path of developing that intimate relationship with Hashem. We already spoke about a number of the very practical points. I want to go on now to speak about how to become a millionaire. Say more. Bitcoin. Okay. End of class. Thank you very much. And I don't even mean a millionaire, I mean a billion, I mean a trillionaire. Gold. End of class. Thank you very much. So, look inside. Beis, we're on page Tzadi. And you're going to see how we're going to build this up. Hisboinenus ava v'yiras v'yira v'dvekus. A person who wants to develop that intimate relationship with Hashem needs to have certain types of meditations. Hisboinenus means to meditate. About what? About God's love for us and about an awe of God and this topic of real intimacy with God. Let's see. Our job is going to be to feel love and awe. When you get this love of God and this yira, which means that there's things that I'm in awe about. There's an intimate relationship with Hashem through having a love. And through those feelings of love, it develops an intimacy. When people are really in love, there's a natural intimacy there. A lot of the love of the world is not really love, it's what we call fallen love. This is an important thing as a background. All of your character traits have two sides to them. There's one side which is called the authentic expression of that character trait, real love, deep love, intimate, powerful, deep connection. And then there's love, but it's called fallen love, an expression of really being bonded and unified, but it's a fallen expression of that. An example would be, so real love would be the love of a couple who really worked and grew together and went through life's challenges together and see the good points in each other. And even though there were differences, that they worked through that and they got to a much deeper level of intimacy and connection because of going through life together and that love. And then there's another situation, like I've too often heard, the guy says, Rabbi, she dumped me. Oh my goodness, everything okay? Like, we were in love, like no one ever had a love like we did before. So, wow, oh my goodness. How long have you guys known each other? This must be very, it's like we met online about a week ago. And nobody ever had a love like we did. It was beyond. It was beyond. Or we met in Vegas. We stayed up all night together. We knew each other. And then it's gone. And it's gone. So is that love? Or is that a fallen love? Because I love steak. I love it. You sure? Maybe you wouldn't have slaughtered that animal and eaten it if you loved it so much. No, I love steak. So is that love? You could enjoy eating steak. We're fine with that as long as it is shechted in a kosher manner. You can enjoy it, but you don't love it. That's called fall in love. Fall in love. Love in its pure form is a bonding, is a very deep bonding. It is a feeling of a real unification. So look at the Rabbi says. V'haderech lezakois la'av v'yirihi lisboinen v'lachshay b'metzias Hashem yisborach v'gedulosai. To think about the reality of God as a real concrete reality, to actually spend time thinking about this. You ever looked at the picture that NASA put out from the Hubble telescope in the last number of years? And how big the universe that they have photographed is? And they do like a zoom in, and then and then you see like the Milky Way is this little nothing, and they zoom out, and you realize, oh my goodness, just how big it all is. And that is not even it. And by the way, as big as that is, how big is that compared to all the spiritual worlds?
Small.
Like not even a grain of sand compared to all of the ocean, all of the beaches and deserts of the world. And then how much bigger is God than all that? Infinite. And you start to realize like, oh my goodness, how big the whole thing is, and it's all here for us. It's all here for us. In the world to come, we're all going to get that. So when a person starts thinking about those things, he's like, oh my goodness, Ronaldo's making some nice videos, but it's not that good compared to God. It's not that good, He's like a nothing compared to just how big it all gets. So you think about that, and there's a love that you start. I want to be close to Hashem. I want to feel you. I want to know you. I want to know you. By the way, where is the place that there is always an association when we talk about love for God? What do you always have exactly in that place? Ava Rabba, Avas Olam. It's always around Torah. Just so you know. Anytime the Torah is mentioned, there's like love. It's all love. It's the Torah and love. It's Avas Olam, by the way, just a halacha, that if a person didn't say Birkas HaTorah, technical point, and he davened Shachris, and he said Avas Olam and Ava Rabba, he's Yoitze Birkas HaTorah, b'diavad. And you should specifically learn something after davening, because it's mamish. It's this love, and all of Avos Olam is just love and love and love. That's all that's a parenthetic point. Wherever you find love, you'll find Torah. So now let's talk about becoming a millionaire, billionaire, trillionaire. Thank God, most of us, humanity can see. How much are your eyes worth? If somebody said, not you, but let's call him Ruvain, $1 million for your eyes. Take it or leave it.
Leave it.
Leave it? What about just one?
For 1 million only? No. I haven't quite experienced.
5 million? 2 eyes.
No.
10 million? No eyes. 10 million. 10 for, I hear 10 for one. I hear 10 for one.
Yeah, for one I would give that.
10 for one, but does that? What about 20 for two? Come on, we're doing business. No?
I can get you
1 plus 1 is
eyes.
summon out. I want your eyes. What do you say? 10 for 1, 20 for 2, 50 for 2.
25.
Geez, what if it only costs $10 million to get, eye
So-
surgery and then fake eyes?
So what about, okay, what do you say about, what about the legs?
Oh yeah, not for sale. Oh, yeah.
Not for sale, no?
That's more nice.
No, I'd rather sell my legs.
$10 million.
For both?
Both legs. $100 million.
Yeah.
Okay, what about taste?
I'll give that up.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just get COVID. Some say, hey. So what about, taste?
Yeah.
Gone?
Yeah, it's $100.
What about hearing? What about hearing? Never to hear music ever again. $10 million.
Music. I need music.
To hear anything. What about speech? You could never speak again. God forbid. You can't communicate. No speech. $10 million. $1 billion. But you can never speak. Well, let's put that all together. Your legs, your arms. What are we up to? Millions, billions? So if you wouldn't trade all those things, how much money do you have? You're a billionaire. You're a zillionaire. You didn't even need to buy Bitcoin, even though I think it's a good idea. You're already a billionaire. That is, God made us billionaires. What kind of love? It's so beautiful. You're like, I can move my hands. I woke up this morning. Life itself. I'm alive. I'm alive. This is a very deep question. It's not even a morbid question as much as it is just a conscious question. What would a person take for his life? You couldn't be alive anymore, God forbid, God forbid. But you can get $1 billion. So he'll say, what do you mean? It's not a question, because then I wouldn't have the $1 billion. So you're alive though. But you're alive. We're alive. Loi hamesim yehalaluka. Those who have passed on cannot praise Hashem. Only those that are alive down in this world. We are we're gazillionaires. We're Googleplex heirs. We have to learn that is the most amazing meditation of, I can walk. God, you give me life. Life itself. I can breathe. I could sing. I could talk to human beings. Life is real, it's deep. I can experience life. I can experience life. You ever think about that? I can experience. It's so real, it's so simple, but because these things are so simple, they just like go over our heads and we don't spend time thinking about them. So the Rebbe is saying, spend some time thinking about these things and you realize God is giving it to you every second. He's infusing you with life every single second. That arouses feelings of love to God. And a feeling of, I owe everything to you. God, you're beating my heart right now. Rabbi Dovber, who's a youngest son, who just had his upsharon, so he was born a preemie, quite preemie, I believe 27 weeks. That's very, very preemie. And we only did the bris a few months after that, because the baby had to get, and the whole world was saying Tehillim and praying for this baby. And he made this very moving video. Like the baby's so small, mamish, and the baby in the ICU and on oxygen, and there's pipes and tubes everywhere, and his lungs they couldn't breathe. So he was on oxygen, but the oxygen was literally breathing the baby, and you saw the machine like an ECMO, like literally not that, but keeping the organs moving, breathing the child. And like this, literally, this baby was being breathed to life, one breath after another. And when he said that, there was a moment, and he said this at the bris. The bris was the most emotional bris that I ever did. It was unbelievable. I was just crying, and there was so many people there because the whole of humanity was praying for this child. So at the bris, the celebration afterwards, he said, I realized at that moment, as I was seeing my son, that the same thing is happening to all of us. You think your lungs they breathe in and out? God is breathing you. If there was no God choosing to pump oxygen into your lungs, there'd be no more you. God is literally breathing us every single second into existence. And when you think about this, it's like Mavla Ryan. It's like, oh my goodness. God, I thank you. It's unbelievable. And there's a deep feeling of just, I want to be close to you. What we're doing today is we're entering a little bit into these meditations. I'm just giving it to you guys, and now you run with it. Go to the Kaisa later. Go into a quiet place, whoever a person is in the world. Sit in your room and think. Go into a meditation. I'm not a millionaire, I'm a billionaire, zillionaire. And I want to be so close to you. I'm so thankful for you, Hashem. It's amazing. So says the Rabbi, V'hainu lahashkiya zman v'lasheves levad. Sit by yourself. Actually take time, private time. V'la'amitz es hamachshava. And strengthen your thoughts in this. V'lamik v'lisboinim megdulas Hashem yisborach. Shir zman rotzev. Actually spend some time, like we just did now, in a focused way, doing this. Not for like 1 second, which is also good. But if you can enter into a state where you just start doing like a body scan of all the pieces of your body, and you just think, I have eyes. It's almost like a guy like on LSD, like, whoa, like I have hands. But you can do it without the acid, just with God. I have hands. Baruch Hashem. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So your roommate's going to walk in and you're like, he's like, bro, you high? It's like, yeah, on loving God. It's like, where do I get that stuff? 3:30 the Vegas class. That's where you get the stuff. And you start, like, my heart is beating. I'm alive. I'm alive. We can go 10, 20, 30, 50, a lifetime without thinking about these things. Sadly, anybody ever felt, lo aleinu, we should never feel sick. Nobody should feel sick. But you ever felt when you got sick, not you, but you know, that there's a feeling of like, I really want to be healthy. I miss just feeling good. And at that moment when you're sick, you're like, I promise God, I'm really going to appreciate being healthy. Because you're like in bed, like, I'm not going to take for granted anymore. Like what it feels. Or a person had a close call, an accident, a close call, and he almost lost like something, God forbid. And he's like, I'm never going to take, my hands for granted or my sight ever again. And then like 2 days later, the guy's just like, taking it for granted again. Let us spend the time now so God doesn't have to do the wake-up calls and say, Hashem, we're so thankful. We're millionaire. Thank you, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And when a person starts feeling that, that's what the Rebbe's talking about. That love meditation, that Ava. Ava is the gematria. Echad, one. Ahava, one. When you have Ava with something, you bond with it, you become one with it. You start feeling like, God, you're breathing me. You're beating my heart. It's so real. There's a bonding. Who wouldn't want to walk around like that? Feeling like God is coursing through me. It's so good. It's so real. And it starts with this appreciation, this love. This mamish love. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you. We should be zecha mamish to feel this love. Mamish to feel this love, all of us. And with that love, to share this with humanity, that truth, the secret, that you're millionaires, you're zillionaires. And Bezrat Hashem with Moshe Tzidken b'mher v'yameinu. Amen. Have a wonderful day, Chevra. Kol Tuv.